We're going to get 20 minutes. All right. I will try not to take a full 20, but welcome to episode number 43, I think we're on today, of All Things Music, the Saturday edition. This episode's going to be kind of a laid back one in that, and I'm hoping this is going to get you guys talking a little bit too, and I would love to hear your input on this. This is a thing that I've touched on, a topic that I've touched on before. But it's not new. It goes back to the very beginning, I'm sure, of music. Um, and it goes like, this. Can a Christian play, write, or perform music that is not Christian per se? And then to go with that, can a Christian play a heavy style of music like punk rock or metal or country or rap? Can a Christian play anything that's not in a hymnal? Well, and for the people that are on the flip side, because I've also had some friends who have also said, I'm not really into the Bible and into church, but there's some good Christian music that I really like Striper back in the 80s, or Believer was another heavy band. Ultimatum is a really good contemporary one. Apologetics is they're a parody type band that they parody everything from speed metal to Elvis to you name it. I mean, they do country, they do rap, they do rock, they do pop, they do 80s, they do it all. And they've got about 66 albums out in their 30-year career, and it spans like thousands of songs. And it's Apologetics, Apologetics. But I also like, well, we'll get into some of that. But, what do you guys think? Can a Christian play music that is not hymns? Um, and, you know, and if you're not a believer, can you listen to music that is made by Christians and still enjoy it? Or do you feel like it's something that it's taboo, so to speak? Um, I'm thinking about it this week, and as some of you guys know, I'm also a minister and a biblical counselor. That's what I went to college for. My doctorate and my master's. Master's is in pastoral theology, and my doctorate is in biblical counseling. And and getting ready for the week and doing my messages as we get ready for Easter, and it's one of the big holidays in the church. Um, we start thinking about things like in Matthew 23, the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes who make laws out of things that are not biblically laws, you know, and they hold people to such a standard that they cannot possibly live up to it. And, they get a series of woes for the people that don't read the Bible and are not in the faith. And woes coming from Christ were condemnations. More than that, I mean, they were flat out uh, judgments. I mean, they were just, that's it. So, and he puts, I think there was 8 on this list in Matthew 23, and they were doing things like that. The Bible doesn't say that a Christian cannot play, listen to, or participate in rock music or whatever style you choose. You go back to the Psalms, which was the book of the music. That was the hymnal of the church. And they list all the instruments that were included. And they had timbrels, and those were like guitars, harps, the cymbals, the drum. They had horns. I mean, they had all kinds of instruments that you would find in a regular band these days. Well, part of it was inspired by, like I said, I was getting ready to do some messages, and Matthew 23 came up, and these people that they made all these laws and really had the people by the neck, their boot down on their neck, and they just couldn't have any wiggle room. And I imagine that they were saying such things as that. And then there was a Hulu documentary called Jesus Music, and I watched it the other day, and they were talking about this conundrum that you could probably call it a conundrum or a paradox, where you know the secular world, if you're a musician that, let's say you're a musician that plays Christian rock, the secular side says you're too Christian for them. The Christian side says you're too much like the world playing that kind of music, and so you don't fit in anywhere. And a lot of times these Christians, like, they fall by the wayside and they have a lot of trouble because they know that music is their passion, just like every musician. Um, I was a musician for many years before I became a Christian, and music is a big thing for me. My dad played music, my uncle played music. His dad was a world renowned musician. I've got uncles that are in all spans of music from jazz to blues, going back to the 50s, 60s, 40s, 70s, 80s, playing all kinds of stuff. So, there's that. But, and I think personally, I think what it comes down to is um, the word that I would use probably are two A words, okay? The first one is adiaphora. Nowhere does anything say in our literature and our texts, our Bibles, and what that you cannot play or listen to certain kinds of music. It says in the church it should be hymns, and it should be done respectfully and reverently. Okay, I'm with that. You don't want to have a rock band on a stage in a church. Okay, but beyond that, there's the word adiaphora, and that just means that if it's not in the Bible, if God does not say you can or cannot do this, then we don't make laws for God and then hold people to that. The other A word is this. If you take all lyrics and you only have a piece of music and you play that piece of music, just the music. Let's say you play a rock song, just the music. Musical notation, tempo, whether it's loud, quiet, whatever it is, has no value to it, moral value, no intrinsic value to it. So the other A word would be amoral. It's the words that you put with the song that makes the song speak. Um, and I don't necessarily want to just go there because classical music, and there's pieces of music that you might listen to that it stirs you inside. So music itself is like a big thing, and it does speak to us. But it sets the mood. It moves us in one way or another, and it's pleasant or it's unpleasant, and we know what we like. That said, it's the words that you put with it. And if you go back to one of my first videos when I started this series, I talked about the songwriting. And one of the things my dad always said is, listen, in our language, in the English language, he bought me out an Oxford dictionary when I was very young, because I started reading when I was like 3.5, and I love to read. Um, I'm losing vision, and I do a lot of it by audio now, but when I can, I will pick up a book and read from a book. I love turning the pages and whatever. All that to say, though, but he bought me an Oxford dictionary, which was huge, and thumb indexed and all that, and he would tell me there's a lot of profane words that we have in our language, but we don't need to use those. The people that use those are generally not good, decent, moral people. So he would tell me we have enough words in our language that we could pick other words to express ourselves. And I would agree with that. Um, and so I think that a lot of what it is, what it comes down to, is the lyric that we put with it. I mean, CCM Christian, if people that don't know, contemporary Christian music today is shallow, superficial, and really empty of much, other than maybe a good catchy riff or something. even then, it leaves a lot to be desired. But when we were growing up, and I was born in '71, and we had '70s music. Petra was a band back then that sounded like any other '70s band that was out. Like America, or the musical style of like a Led Zeppelin, or just CCR, or whatever it was. That was popular then. In the '80s, we had Stryper, and I loved Stryper, and I'd become friends with a couple of the guys, especially Michael. But it was always that thing, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. But these guys they had lyrics then that were good, that lined up with what the church would teach and what we believe and what we would read in our Bibles. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, because I see we've been going a little bit, and I think you get the message, but so my big thing is be mindful of what you're speaking, what you're putting out there with your lyric. I personally come from the side that, because music is neither good nor evil in its sound and notation. I mean, when you pick up a book of sheet music and you look at the notes on the page, they're not good or evil. I mean, there is none of that, but what the lyric that goes with it is what gives it that meaning behind it, because words have meaning. Martin Luther, somebody that I've studied a bit about and and kind of look up to. He's one of my heroes of the faith. But he would actually go into the church and just play music. And he wrote music. I mean, he wrote "A Mighty Fortress" is a hymn that was written by him, and it's a peppy, catchy. It's a good one. And a lot of bands have covered it too, by the way, rock bands. But I think that you have to be careful with what lyric you're putting out there and what you're putting with the music. Now, I come from the side that as long as you're putting out a good message, I think you could be a secular, that means just a regular mainstream band, not Christian, not any particular religious view, theological view. I think a secular band can say some really good things. There's been a lot of bands over the years that just say good things. They're not evil or anything like that. U2 was a band that I listened to throughout the '80s and into the '90s. I don't know what they're putting out now, but lyrically they were fine. They really didn't have anything that was perverse or profane. So, I mean, there's bands that you can listen to, and John Denver, for the people that like country or whatever. But I think that you can listen to and perform music as a person of faith, as long as the lyric is not contradictory to what you believe and what the Bible teaches and tells us. So I would say, yeah, I mean, just pay attention to the lyric. But what do you guys think? I've got friends that come on both sides of this. And, weigh in too. If you're not in the church or you're not of faith, weigh in, because we're curious to see what you have to say. That whole big thing of where people feel lost that are lifelong musicians, who are also Christian, that say, we're too good for the world and we're too bad for the Christians, so we really don't fit in anywhere, and they often become loners and get down on themselves, and because they don't really feel like they fit in anywhere, and in some ways they don't, and that's the one thing every musician knows, like it's in you to play music. So what do you guys think? I would love some interaction on this. I've been doing this since January 1st, and I'll close with this. I was told, because I picked this up a while ago, I was going to do videos and do playthroughs and whatever. And I started it, and I really didn't get much of an audience. And I got discouraged, and I stopped doing it, because I figured, each one of these videos, like, I put in a lot. Today, I watched a couple of things, like that documentary, and I've been thinking about and talking with people. But typically, I do a bass playthrough video with each one of these talking videos, and I did a couple today because I missed doing them for a few days, and I did one for Wednesday, but You know, so I mean, I'm learning a new song every time I do that. I'm going through the chart, and when I do these, I do outlines. I write between 5 and 10 pages for a 15-minute video, and I list what I'm going to talk about, what the order is. I do some research. I find out what the people are saying in that area, in the industry, regular musicians that are weekly gigging in their local areas, and I take the time to really study these things out. So I'm starting to get a little bit of feedback, but I would really appreciate if you're watching this and you have not yet clicked subscribe to my page or click the bell because I'm on here all the time. I'm on for All Things Music is every Saturday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And normally I've gotten into doing 2 o'clock, releasing a bass playthrough. And then I have my Sundays where I put on some, I do some biblical teaching and counseling related stuff. And I do my theology thing under the Sword and Spirit playlist. You're welcome to check those out if you're not a believer and see what you think about those. But yeah, and then just stay tuned and watch because I'm always putting something out. I got special things. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm slowly getting there, but I can do live stream again. And I used to do like giveaways and stuff when I was allowed to do live streams back in the day. But yeah, please, any videos that you really like on any of my playlists, share them, spread them around, help me build my audience. It is now April 9th, I think it's today. Yeah. And so I've been doing this consistently every Saturday and Wednesday and uploading a whole bunch of songs. I think I'm up to like 74 now in my bass playthroughs already. So, I've been consistent and I would love the interaction. Talk to me, ask questions, suggest topics. You're welcome to do that. I will definitely do them for you. Suggest song playthroughs, bass playthroughs. I haven't been playing bass very long, but I've been a drummer all my life. I started playing drums when I was about 18, started tapping, and started playing bass just a few years ago because I wanted to write, and I got real serious about it. Once COVID hit and I didn't have much else to do, I figured I'll get serious and start trying to break this thing down and learning how to play. And if you go look at my Get the Job Done video for anybody that doesn't know me yet, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm contracted, my hands are bent like this. I knuckle the frets instead of being able to use fingertips, so that's how I'm getting around. And, I don't really have much range of motion. I play it Jeff Healey style. I lay the bass flat on a stand, and I play it like slide guitar style. But yeah, I've played a lot of different styles, and you guys will see that, and I'm adding a whole bunch more. I actually have an Elvis song coming up. So there you go. That's that. So please, please, please help me out. Grow my audience. Help me build this thing up. I've got some cool things to give away. Played some shows. Maybe I'll sign a drum head or something and give that out, or some sticks or whatever. But yeah, I've had a lot of cool stuff over the years. And we'll tell more stories, and we'll have a lot of fun on this particular playlist. But so click subscribe if you haven't already. Like, share, and I'll see you guys back here on Wednesday. If you're down and you're interested, check out tomorrow. I'll be doing a video for the Sword and Spirit. If you want to check it out and see what I'm all about with the theology, you're welcome to come in there. Check out the gospel video to see what it is that we believe. And see you over there too. But definitely, yeah, chime in, answer the question if you forgot what it was, because I rambled. It was, can a Christian play rock music or one of the so-called world styles of music and still be a Christian? So let me know what you think. All right, God bless you guys, and I'll be back here Wednesday for All Things Music, and tomorrow Sunday for Sword and Spirit. Bye. God bless.